The betta fish drifts through shallow freshwater as if time itself has slowed around it. At first glance, it appears delicate, almost ornamental, a living brushstroke of color moving through still water. Its fins trail behind like silk caught in a gentle current, and for a moment it seems peaceful, harmless, even fragile. But this calm is deceptive. Beneath the flowing fins and vibrant hues lies one of the most intensely territorial fish on Earth, a creature shaped by isolation, scarcity, and conflict over countless generations. Long before aquariums and glass bowls, betta fish inhabited the warm, shallow waters of Southeast Asia. Rice paddies, slow-moving streams, floodplains, and stagnant pools formed their original world. These environments were unstable and often unforgiving. Water levels rose and vanished with the seasons, oxygen was scarce, and space was limited. Survival favored fish that could tolerate poor conditions and defend small territories with absolute determination. Over time, this pressure carved the betta into what it is today. Evolution gave the betta fish a remarkable advantage. Unlike most fish, it possesses a labyrinth organ, a specialized structure that allows it to breathe atmospheric oxygen. This adaptation freed it from dependence on well-oxygenated water and allowed it to thrive where others could not. In shallow puddles and stagnant pools, where oxygen levels dropped dangerously low, the betta survived by rising to the surface and taking air directly into its body. This single trait shaped much of its behavior, its independence, and its ability to dominate isolated spaces. The body of the betta fish reflects both beauty and function. In the wild, bettas are more muted in color than their domesticated counterparts, displaying earthy tones of brown, green, and red that blend into muddy water and dense vegetation. Selective breeding by humans later amplified these colors into the dazzling blues, reds, purples, and metallic shades seen today. Yet even in captivity, the betta retains the muscular build and flexible spine of a predator. Its fins, though delicate in appearance, serve as tools of communication and intimidation, expanding dramatically when the fish feels threatened or challenged. Behavior defines the betta fish more than any physical trait. Males in particular are fiercely territorial. When two males encounter one another, the confrontation begins silently. Fins flare outward, gill covers spread wide, and bodies stiffen. This display is not mere aggression but a calculated assessment, a ritualized exchange meant to establish dominance without immediate violence. If neither retreats, the encounter escalates into rapid strikes, bites, and chases that can end in serious injury or death. This intensity earned the species its common name, the Siamese fighting fish. Yet aggression is only one side of the betta's character. Observed closely, bettas display a surprising level of awareness. They recognize patterns, remember feeding routines, and respond differently to familiar and unfamiliar stimuli. Some learn to associate human presence with food, approaching the glass when their caretaker enters the room. Others display curiosity, investigating objects placed in their environment with deliberate movements. This intelligence is subtle, not flashy, but unmistakable to those who watch patiently. Social structure in betta fish is defined by distance rather than cooperation. In the wild, individuals maintain separation, occupying small territories filled with vegetation that offers cover and breeding sites. Direct interaction is rare and usually brief, limited to mating or territorial disputes. Females, while less aggressive than males, are not passive. They establish their own spaces and choose mates carefully, responding only to males that demonstrate strength and persistence without excessive threat. Diet plays a crucial role in sustaining the betta's energy-intensive lifestyle. As carnivores, betta fish feed primarily on insects, larvae, and small invertebrates that fall onto the water's surface. Their upward-oriented mouths are perfectly adapted for snapping prey from above, often striking with sudden speed. This feeding strategy complements their air-breathing ability, keeping them near the surface where both oxygen and food are readily available. Reproduction is one of the most fascinating chapters in the betta's life. When a male is ready to breed, he constructs a bubble nest at the water's surface, carefully blowing air-filled bubbles coated in saliva to create a floating structure. This nest is more than a shelter, it is a declaration of readiness. When a receptive female approaches, the courtship begins with circling movements and controlled displays of dominance. The embrace that follows appears violent, as the male wraps his body around the female, squeezing gently until eggs are released. The male fertilizes them immediately, then gathers each egg and places it carefully into the bubble nest. After spawning, the roles reverse dramatically. The female is driven away, sometimes aggressively, while the male becomes a devoted guardian. For days, he tends the nest tirelessly, retrieving fallen eggs and larvae, repairing bubbles, and defending the area from intruders. This parental investment is rare among fish and highlights the complexity of betta behavior. Only when the young are free swimming does the male abandon his post, leaving the offspring to survive on their own. Predators in the wild include larger fish, birds, and reptiles, but the greatest threats to betta fish today come from habitat destruction and misunderstanding. Wetlands are drained, waterways polluted, and rice farming practices altered, reducing suitable habitats. In captivity, improper care often leads to stress, illness, and shortened lifespans. Bettas are frequently kept in containers too small to allow natural movement or environmental stimulation, reinforcing the myth that they require minimal care. Human interaction with betta fish is complex. On one hand, selective breeding has preserved and expanded the species' presence worldwide, creating genetic lines that might otherwise have vanished. On the other, commercialization has reduced the betta to a decorative object, stripping away awareness of its natural history and needs. When properly cared for, bettas live several years, displaying consistent personalities and behaviors that challenge assumptions about fish intelligence and emotional capacity. In the ecosystem, wild betta fish play a quiet but important role. By feeding on insect larvae, they help regulate mosquito populations and contribute to the balance of small freshwater systems. Their presence reflects the health of shallow wetlands, environments often overlooked yet essential for countless species. The conservation status of wild betta species varies, with some populations declining due to habitat loss and overcollection. Preserving these fish means preserving the fragile ecosystems they inhabit. It requires recognizing that even small, visually striking creatures carry ecological weight. Why the betta fish matters is not immediately obvious. It is not large, not fast, not feared by humans. But it tells a story that resonates deeply. A story of adaptation to harsh conditions, of beauty forged by struggle, of intelligence hidden behind silence. The betta fish reminds us that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it floats quietly beneath the surface, breathing air where others cannot, defending a space no larger than a puddle, surviving against odds that seem impossibly small. In watching the betta fish, we see a reflection of resilience itself. A creature shaped by limitation, thriving through determination, and misunderstood because its battles are fought in silence. And in that silence, the betta endures.